So you're probably asking yourself this question: should I be buying a house right now with everything going on in our nation, in the economy, and so many unknowns in the real estate market? Let's answer that question coming up. Welcome, I'm your host, Steve Penate, realtor and host of the Steve Talks Real Estate Show, where we bring you value, content, and tips in all things real estate and housing related. So, before we continue, if you haven't done so, hey, I keep putting out so much content when it comes to the real estate world on this channel. Hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone you feel would benefit from this channel. So on this video, I am going to be answering the question: should I be buying a house right now with everything going on? So many people are saying the housing market is about to crash. Oh my gosh. Others are saying, what are you talking about? There's no solid statistics pointing to that. And so if you haven't watched my previous video, I talk about whether or not the housing market is going to crash. It's a must watch. It's very informative, and it's going to bring you some peace and clarity to that question. So with that said, I am going to be talking about whether or not you should be buying a house during these times. You could be a family and or a person that is on the fence, contemplating within yourselves whether or not you feel at peace, safe, and or if it's even wise to be buying a house right now. So with that said, let's get into that. So there are a couple factors you should be considering when you are answering that question. And the first one being is job security. Now, our economy has absolutely taken a hit, but it's taken a hit due to the shutdown. And everybody right now is still implementing safety measures, and because of the safety measures, in order to protect all of us, a lot of companies, businesses have come to a screeching halt. Let's take, for example, the hotel industries. Resorts have taken a hit. Restaurants have pretty much shut down unless they've been able to accommodate people picking up food. But in general, so many industries like that have honestly shut down, and so people have been furloughed, people have been laid off in some instances. And so the question is economic security when it comes to buying a house. So one of the first things you should ask yourself is, am I going to have a job 6 months, 8 months down the road? And why is that question so important? Well, it's because you don't want to find yourself buying a house right now, and all of a sudden, 6 months down the road, you end up being laid off, finding yourself in a situation where you're not able to pay for your mortgage. So it's very important for you to answer that question. Will I have a job 6 months, 8 months, 1 year down the road? Now, for most people, once America opens back up, we're all hoping jobs are slowly going to make a comeback. But on the other hand, there are so many people that are continuing working during the season we're in. So many people honestly haven't been impacted when it comes to their work, when it comes to their household income. So I would say this: if your household income has not been affected, you should not be worried about buying a house right now. Okay, interest rates are still historically low, and house prices right now have maintained really strong and steady for the most part. So if you are on the spectrum where you feel safe and secure in your workspace, in your job, in your household income, in the economy, in your household, as long as you stay within your budget, stay within your means, you shouldn't be worried about buying a house right now. Okay, there are no indications of a crash coming anytime soon. Now, I know that so many people are seeing headlines about, unemployment, businesses on the verge of bankruptcy and all these headlines. But when you really do the research, okay, everybody is on the edge wanting to come back to work. America, open back up. That's the mentality right now. Let's get the economy going. On the other side, we see so many people that haven't been affected when it comes to their employment by all this. They're out there house hunting. My personal business hasn't even been affected. People that were selling their house kept their houses on the market, and we've been able to sell those houses. My buyers, it's actually been helpful for them because when people ran in fear, that allowed my buyers to not face multiple offers situations. My buyers have continued to buy. I've encouraged them, hey, you know what? Don't worry. The statistics we are seeing when it comes to the housing market are not leading us into a housing market crash. So if you have job security, buy your house. Now, if you are nervous about your job, if you find yourself in a job where, you know, it really is on the line, you're on the fence, well, maybe you should wait it out. Wait it out 6 months, wait it out 8 months, wait it out 1 year, whatever you have to do. But if your job industry is on shaky ground, you should probably wait it out and see what it's going to look like once America opens back up and once the economy gets rolling all over again. Regardless, I always say this, rents are still at historical highs. You're either going to pay your mortgage, which is your mortgage, paying your own house down, something you own, or you are going to be paying rent and paying someone else's mortgage. You'll be paying off someone else's house. All right. Secondly, I want to address this, okay? There are so many people that truly want to buy, but they keep reading headlines and are now afraid to buy, thinking that if they buy a house now, the house will be worth $100,000 less 6 months from now. I want to address this and bring some clarity and wisdom to this. There are no indications right now of a market crash. Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball. It could be we are in a shutdown for the next 4 years for all I know. Okay? In that case, well, there's really no way to avoid a deep recession when everything's shut down, when the economy isn't open, when money isn't flowing. Okay? But for the most part, okay, it's looking like the economy should be back on its way up the moment we're able to open up America and get people back to working. Okay? There are no statistics when it comes to the housing markets that is indicating a crash. Now, if you watched my previous video, we could see a slowdown, but it's very important you understand that a slowdown is not a crash. They are two very different concepts, and it's important for you to understand that. My perspective is this: interest rates are still at historical lows right now. Okay? Lending is getting more stricter. It's harder to get a loan, and I think that's a good thing because it only protects the mortgage industry, the housing industry. Only people that are well qualified are able to buy houses. So if you are someone that is afraid to buy a house, thinking that 6 months, 8 months down the road, your house is going to be worth $100,000 less, well, that just isn't the case. There are no housing statistics that are pointing to that. Now, if you watch my previous video again, I keep pointing to that one, so go watch that one. Some cities will be affected in a slowdown a lot harder than other cities. Now, a slowdown could bring prices down, but prices coming down does not mean prices crashing down. It's very important you understand that concept. Overall, on a personal level, I am very optimistic once America opens back up, the economy gets rolling, okay? The economy went like this, right down. But once it opens up, we're expecting it to go right back up and the housing market to remain strong. Could house prices drop a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. As consumer confidence builds back up, there could be a little slowdown. As people begin their jobs all over again, there could be a little slowdown. But remember, a slowdown isn't a crash. And it's very important that as a buyer, you understand that. You should feel confident in the statistics that housing market experts and economic experts are actually projecting for us. As long as we're able to get back into business, open up America, people working, the housing market should remain healthy and strong. With that said, I would encourage you to talk with your real estate agents in whatever city you're in and ask for the most recent up-to-date information when it comes to the market in that particular city. For the most part, if you're a buyer, once again, I'm going to stress this, rents are at historically high rates. You're either paying your own mortgage, getting your house now, and or you're paying someone else's mortgage and paying rent. It's up to you, and I always say this, homeownership is one of the greatest things you could do even in these times right now. Well, that wraps up episode 112 of the Steve Talks Real Estate Show. Now, I'm about to do a video where I talk about 5 reasons why we are not projecting a housing market crash. So stay tuned. We keep bringing you the best in all things real estate. With that said, keep sending in your questions and I will do my best to keep on answering them. We'll see you next time.